All right, so in today's video, I'm going to take this cooler that we picked up at the dollar store for about $5. I bought this off of Amazon. It's just looks like a computer fan that gives you a little bit of extra control other than just on and off. This was about $5 or $6. I'll put links in the description to that. But basically, the whole thing is going to cost me about $10. I've got these laying around in the freezer. These are right now blocks of ice that are in these packs. You usually put these in your cooler when you're packing like for the beach or something. I'm going to use this just because what we're going to do is I'm going to put a hole about right there. And you can see it's already angled. I'm going to put a hole right there so that way when I put a fan on top of this shooting down, I'm going to have cold stuff inside the cooler and only air will come out through this one hole right here. But we're going to check to see how good is this. I've seen a lot of these on the internet and I want to see how good this is. So right now in the house, the air condition is not working. It's about 80 plus degrees outside. We've got a lot of fans going. We're not going to have the air condition fixed for a couple days. So I'm going to put this in my son's room working as a makeshift air conditioner and we're going to see how well it does. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to take this little circle that came with my fan. I'm going to draw a circle around this with my marker. And then I'm going to do the same thing right here. And I'm going to cut those out with a knife. All right, for this next step, make sure that you plug your fan in so you know which way is blowing the air out. In my fan, the back here is actually blowing the most, so I can feel a lot of air coming out of this. So I'm gonna mount this side down and I'm gonna mount this side up. So that way I'm blowing it into the cooler. And I'm just going to mount it with these screws that I found. I'm just going to plug them in here and screw them down. You could actually hot glue this thing around here if you wanted to, because it's really everything about this setup is cheap. All right, it's probably hard to see on camera, but the fan is spinning pretty fast. I've plugged it in. I can feel a lot of air coming out of here. I'm going to measure the temperature just to see where it's at. So if we look on this thing right now, I believe that says 72. That's in the cooler. Now, in the cooler, what I did is I put those pieces of ice in there, like I said, and then I also put some water in. It's not that cold right now. It looks like it says 60. It looks like it's going down 59, 60 degrees. So I'm going to set this in a room that's closed up. My son has a door to his room, kind of warm in there. I'm going to see how this does. We're going to let this run for a while. Before I do that, though, I'm going to let this just sit here circulating outside, just to give you an idea, by the way. Outside, if I look at that, that's 86 degrees right there. But coming out of this thing is, wow, what is it? 72 degrees? 72 coming out. And I can feel a lot of air right here. So we'll see how it goes. And I'll come back in 5 minutes. I'm going to see if the temperature changes any coming out of this, because I just put the water in here. It's still kind of warm. And then what I'm going to do after I come back is I'm going to take this to my son's room and probably leave it there for a couple hours, and let's see if it goes down in temperature.
5 minutes later.
Let's see, it's now in the 60s, 64. So I think it was in the 70s before. I think though, as I feel this, it's coming out cooler than it was, but it's not cold. I think what I'm going to do is I've got a lot more stuff that's frozen. I'm going to fill this cooler all the way up as high as I can go with it, water and whatever. And I'm going to see how cold that is in about 5 minutes. So I'm going to go get some more stuff.
10 minutes later.
All right, we changed it up just a little bit. I want to show you. You can see that's getting a temperature reading in the 60s if I just shoot it in there. If I actually hit some of the ice media, we're in the 50s. But what we did is we filled water up about as high as we could go. We added some ice as well as a lot more ice packs. So we've got the cooler pretty filled up right now. And you can see we added these so you can see that there's actually some sort of airflow coming out of there. And then I went ahead and purchased for about $10, which is the same price as this whole project, this temperature gauge. So you can see in the room right now, it's actually 79 degrees, 48% humidity. We're gonna see how that changes by tomorrow morning. So 79, now that vent is clearly off, or it would not say 79. So that's where we're at, that's our baseline. We'll see how it looks tomorrow.
3 hours later.
Well, it's been more than 3 hours and you can see that the temperature is still 79. So I'm thinking that this thing is just not working. This room is a 13 by 11 and we've closed all the windows. We even closed the door and it didn't change. So if I look at the water, you can see the water is 52 degrees. So it is blowing cool air, but it's just not enough to do anything for any decent sized room. So I think we can successfully say this really didn't work. It's not good enough for any real world purposes. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped you. If it did, please give us a thumbs up, maybe even subscribe. Check out our other videos. Thanks.